always did things for her, always just that close a phone call away. My sister Alita related this morning of an incident. I thought it was quite cute, and I kind of forgot about it until this morning. And she was opening one of the doors, and it was squeaking. Squeak, 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 squeak. And Dad would do that until my mom would come out and say, "What is the matter?" It delighted my dad to do these little things. Somehow I think I picked up on that, and I think we all have, the somewhat delight of teasing. My sister Alita there was the three of us, and then Tara come along later, so the three of us kind of grew up together, my sister Jan and I and Alita. And I remember poor Alita just always got worst end of the stick, for me and Jan. We teased her relentlessly, but she was always so gentle. And I seen that with her father. Dad was always, a little softer with Alita, a little softer, because he knew we were ornery to Alita. He knew that. Alita loved him so much, cared for him. What a wonderful father he was to her. His oldest granddaughter, Jana Lee. "Grandpa, I will miss your humor, smile, and good game of cards, but I know that my sorrow is comforted by the good things my memories give me. You are a wonderful role model in my life, and I can never thank you enough for that. I love you, and I'm grateful for the 26 years that I had you as my grandfather." James, which is Jan's second. "Since the day I was born, I have known a man by the name of Willard G. Bates as my grandfather. I don't believe anyone who's ever had a better role model of what it meant to be honest, respectable, and a loving person as my grandpa has for me. I have learned a countless number of life lessons and have been directly shaped into the person that I am today throughout time we spent together. When I really think about it, it is clear to see that my grandfather is the most significant and inspirational person I ever had the privilege of knowing, and I will miss him for the rest of my life." From his grandson Colton, which is Jan's third. "Dear Grandpa, I love you. I thank you. I miss you. To find one moment is hard because all the time that we spent together was significant. You have been like a father to me, and for that you will be in my heart and my thoughts forever. Your card playing was inspirational, and your work one of a kind. I just hope that your spirit will live on through me. In time, I love you, Grandpa." From his granddaughter Kayla, which is my oldest. "It's hard to write down just one memory of Gramps. There are so many to talk about. The one that strikes out most now is when I would go to stay with him and Gram. They always had the greatest things to do and eat. But Gramps always snuck treats home, usually things he wasn't supposed to eat. The best was chips and salsa. When he knew I was coming, he would always stop at Costco on his way home from work. Then he would get the biggest jar of salsa and the bag of chips money could buy. He would pull the driveway. I would just yell, 'Gramps is home.' We ate, watched TV, and patiently waited for Gramps to go to bed. We always waited 15 to 30 minutes to make sure she was really asleep. Then we'd get up and come back with the goods. We gorged ourselves until bedtime. He usually would say, 'I better stop or I'll have heartburn tomorrow.' I don't know really why he really snuck it in. He never hid the arrows. I'm sure it was just to add to the fun. In the mornings, Grandma would walk in and see the chips and just shake her head. I had many good times with Gramps. Those memories I would cherish forever." From Tyler, which is my oldest boy. "Grandpa and I had wonderful times together. Coming up with one so hard to narrow down, but if there was one memory that I'll remember, it would have to be 2 years ago. Back in April of 2008, I had purchased my car from Boise and needed a ride to get up there. My dad was busy at the time, so he suggested maybe Grandpa would like to take me up there. So I called him and he agreed to. Later that day, he called me back and said that since we're going up, there might be time that we could go to the temple and do a session. The Twin Falls Temple was not done at the time. I thought it was a great idea. Wonderful, wonderful day it was. The whole way up, he and I discussed about favorite stories from the Scriptures. I also remember him telling me, don't worry about remembering everything they tell you today. I've gone many times since and still can't even get the first instructions, they tell us. It was only the second time I had ever gone to the temple my whole life, but he was there for me every step of the way. The people all around the temple that day gave compliments to us on how wonderful it was to see grandfather and grandson going to the temple together. I'm so thankful Grandpa and I shared that day together. I always treasure that forever. This is from Derek, which is my third. I was kind of a part of this, so I kind of watched this happen and shook my head. My most fond memory of Grandpa was how he always would teach me new things and try new things. He was wonderful showing me a better way to build and service things, and many other things I have had on a distinct memory that always stands out in my mind. I was just 6 or 7, and my dad was digging sugar beets from what we call the friend pivot. And Bishop Giles will know what we're talking about there today. And I always ride with my dad for 4 or 5 hours and then asked to go ride with Grandpa. That day, the same cross went on. Grandpa still had his 58 red Chevy truck. I rode with him to the dump, and when we were back in the field, we had some time before it would be Grandpa's turn to get loaded. He looked at me and asked, how would you like to drive? Of course, I jumped out of my seat screaming yes. Grandpa stopped and got out of the truck and let me in the driver's seat. He stood on the steps of the truck and helped me get the truck moving, then he hopped down and walked along picking up beads and tossing them in. I remember laying on my back, not even seeing over the steering wheel, just holding the gas pedal and listening to Grandpa tell me where to turn. It was one of the greatest times of my life, and I will always remember the wonderful moments I spent like Grandpa, the wonderful man he was. I remember that day. I was digging, and I happened to glance over, and I seen my dad walking, and the truck was moving, and I go, what's going on here? This can't be good. And I see this little arm. I won't even look. This is from Hannah, my youngest. I have a lot of great memories of Grandpa, but my favorite is the one be riding with the beet truck with him, a common denominator here, during beet harvest. I would always go riding in the tractor with my dad, and that was all good and fun, but when Grandpa pulled up next to my dad, I would always go get in with the truck with my grandpa. I was second choice. I know that was all right. What sticks out the most for me is on the truck ride, we went way back in the beet dump, in anticipation if we were going to get a treat or not. I remember the excitement sitting very still and watching Grandpa's feet to see if he started pressing on the brakes. If he did, we weren't going to get a treat, but if he didn't, I remember trying to hold my excitement, knowing that we're going to the Mavericks, so he could fill up his mug with Mountain Dew and let me get whatever I wanted from the candy aisle. This is one of the best memories I have of him. Whenever I come to that turn, I always think of him. I will always remember the great times I had with my gramps. He was the greatest. From his grandson, Blake. Blake's kind of picked this up. Blake's a lot like Grandpa, likes to tinker with things. And Blake's memories was of times Blake related to me this morning of coming to Grandpa's house, going down the basement, and I don't know if any of you have ever been in my dad's basement there. He's got all kinds of electronic stuff. Dad has a shop down in the basement. He had everything down there. All these little tinker things, and Blake would go down and help him tinker, and he'd ask Grandpa about this and about this, and he says, how many things Grandpa taught me about little, silly little things that was important. How to fix things, how to tinker on things. Just little fun things that they'll remember from their grandpa. Cassie, which is Alita's second, reminded me this morning, she said, I can't really write anything down. She said, I remember one day I had my flute. Cassie played the flute, still does. Do you still play the flute, Cass? My dad had an accordion, and he claimed he was never good at it. Well, if I could be that good on something, I'd be a master at something. And if I was bad at it, as bad as he said he was, I'd be a master at something. So, Cass related how Dad pulled the accordion out one day when she was there. Dad got the accordion and started fiddling around. Cassie happened to have her flute. And they started to play a duet together, Cassie and my dad. My dad was talented in the fact that he could just play music from no music in front of him. He just picked it up. So there, a granddaughter and a grandfather were playing a duet in the house on two instruments together. And what a memory that is of her grandfather. Little Erica will remember her grandfather as somebody that liked to tease and hug and give a bad time to. And he loved her so much because little Eric was so much fun to tease. And he loved her so much and cared for her so much. She was the last of the grandchildren till the great-grandchildren come along. And the great-grandchildren were young.